Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and safe wherever you are in the world. In this video, I'm gonna show you where I am and why I've decided to quarantine myself here, what my life living on a tiny island looks like. I'll also be talking about some negative aspects of this island, and I'll also be giving you a lot of information about this place in case you want to visit it once this whole virus thing is over. But first, let me show you what the island looks like. This paradise is called Little Corn Island and is located approximately 90 kilometers off the eastern coast of Nicaragua in the Caribbean Sea. Officially, the island counts about 1,200 people, but locals have been telling me that there are about 800 people living here at the moment. Here there are no cars, no motorcycles, and only one pedestrian road that goes around the whole island, which you can walk from one point to another within 30 minutes. People speak English, Creole, and Spanish. You can either pay with national currency, which is Cordoba, or US dollars. There are no ATMs on the island, so take enough cash with you. In case you run out of it, you still have the option to go to Bicorn, the main island, which costs about $10 the round trip. There is only one tiny medical center here and medicines are free. But if you need important care, you have to go to the big island where there is a hospital or back to the continent. It took me about 7 hours to get from Managua to Bluefields, and then took me about 6 hours on a ferry from Bluefields to Bicorn Island. Once I got to Bicorn Island, I had to take another little boat that took me about 30 minutes to finally get to Little Corn Island. When I first got here, borders were still open, but then this whole mess happened, and here I was left with two solutions. Either I stay or I go back to France. And since I don't consider myself living in France anymore and haven't for a long time, I just decided to stay here. Going back home was not an option, and I didn't want to go to Managua, the capital, and take the risk to get contaminated and contaminate other people. Things were pretty normal until one tourist got sick, not from the virus, but still it was enough to make everybody freak out on the island, so they started shutting down everything. Hotels, restaurants, diving centers. Nicaragua is one of the only countries that still has its borders open. They closed the airport due to lack of activity, and we're about 10 tourists on the whole island. So a little break from the video to give you guys a little update in real time, because there has been some changes since I filmed this video. There have been more cases of COVID in Nicaragua, so they decided to restrict the access to the island, so no tourists can come anymore to the island. I'm still able to leave, but if I do leave, I'm not gonna be able to come back. And people have started to freak out a little bit, so they started putting like soap and water at the entrance of one of the supermarkets I always go to, for example. The island gets food supplies every Saturday from the big island, which gets its supplies from the continent. So there is still a lot of communication between the islands and the continent. For now, most supermarkets are still open, and they're very tiny, but you can find a lot of stuff there. But what makes the island even more amazing is that you can find fruit pretty much everywhere.
So how do we get food on this island? Well, except for going to the supermarket, we also go pick up our own fruit. Been here for 5 minutes and this is everything we got. Every single tree is a mango tree. There is also cashew nuts. Can you believe that? We found those fruit here. So the fruit is not very tasty. It actually smells very weird, but this is what's got the cashew nuts inside. So this is called breadfruit, and it really can replace the bread, and it tastes so good.
The island is also filled with starfruit, which they call carambola or melocotón, depending on where you are in Nicaragua. And it tastes amazing. You can do it as a juice, or you can also... It tastes actually better when it's cooked, and I use it a lot in my porridge in the morning. I really like it here because I've been learning to live with the season, eating locals and seasonal fruits and veggies. I've been also learning to recognize when a plant is ready to be picked up and when it needs more time to grow. Coconut is also a huge part of the alimentation on the island, so they use it to drink the water, they use it to make milk, which they use to make bread, and they also use it as oil to cook. And I've also learned to cook a traditional dish in the most traditional way, but I'm gonna wait another video to show you that. Oh, and one last thing before I finish editing this video is that you should be careful when you come here, because the rainy season starts in May, so it has already started, but it's not that bad though. There can be very heavy rain. which they call shower here. But most of the time it will rain like 3 to 4 days in a row, and then beautiful sun and beautiful weather. I barely eat meat, but I really enjoy eating fresh fish from the fishermen I found right on the beach. Or you can even go to their house directly to buy it. If you ask anyone in town where you can buy fish, everybody will tell you where to go and from what house you can buy it. Also, if you ever make it here, you must try the gingerbread. It's made with coconut milk, so it's dairy free and it tastes awesome. Alright, what is this? It's gingerbread, it's our favorite. Prices here are very correct, even though they're more expensive than the continent. Right now, I'm spending between 2 to 3 euros per day to eat, which is pretty amazing. So how do I spend my days here? Let me show you. But of course, perfection doesn't exist, and this island, like many other places in the world, is very contaminated. I'm not saying this island is unsustainable, because truth is, they're doing a pretty great job. About 6 months ago, they've installed solar panels, even though they're still not using them. This might come in the near future. They have no cars or motorcycles. They have fresh water available thanks to an aquifer present on the island. Most people have water well in their garden, and they can get their own fish and fruits. But I guess that when plastic goods were introduced to them, they weren't given a proper explanation of the damages it could have on their environment and ecosystems. Yes, colonialism is the reason why so many countries that were totally sustainable became big producers of trash. They use plastic for absolutely everything. There are trash cans, but locals don't seem to be using them a lot. I've seen kids playing with plastic bottles and locals eating ice creams and throwing it in the water while they were taking a swim. Hey guys, little break from the video because I want to give you some updates. Since I filmed this video, there have been a lot of things happening, and one of them is that we went to pick up trash around the island with other tourists. And at first we were about 6 people, and then we met the head of the conservation center on the island, and she decided to organize another cleanup with other people from the island, locals and kids, and it went very well. And after that, me and Nico decided to do a presentation about plastic to the kids to educate them. So that's what's been happening. And we also met Derek and Anna, who are a self-sufficient family that produces their own fuel with recycled plastic. So there is, and there will be, a short documentary coming very soon. It's probably the most beautiful place I've seen in a while, but corals are starting to bleach. This is due to global warming and the rise of the water temperature, but also due to tourists using sunscreen that aren't reef safe. So if you ever make it there, please be conscious about it and use reef-safe sunscreen or simply cover yourself up, but don't contaminate the water. Overall, I still think that this place is a treasure that needs to be protected, and not only locals but tourists need to be conscious about the way they treat it. I love how simple it is to live here, and I couldn't have asked for a better place to spend my quarantine. So, did you know about this island, and would you visit this place when the lockdown is over? I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!